Hello YouTube. Hello YouTube. Another speed lap. Another day, another speed lap. Ah yes. This time it's Bryan versus Katarina. And Katarina, of course, one of those characters that's, you know, very hard to deal with, and you have to know how to deal with her strings and stance transitions the most. But she's very good. Ignore my tangent upper attempts, I'm very bad at it. I just felt like doing it. But, god damn it. Come on, do one! Fuck, never mind. Okay. So, Katarina. First, let's talk about the general game plan in the neutral. So, in the neutral, she has a very good space control because of a very good down forward 1 that moves her forward and has a lot of range. Down forward 1 in general for Katarina is very, very good. And the way you deal with it, mostly anyway, is you try to step it, but it's very hard to step, as you guys can see. You can sidewalk it to the left sometimes, but this down forward 1 is very good. So as I said, her space controller is amazing, her down forward 1 is really good, very hard to step, although it's possible. It still has very good tracking. Like down forward 1 to down forward 1 for example, right? You can step that to track to the right. But in general, it still has very good tracking because it will get blocked by sidestep blocked. Unless you sidewalk. So you have to commit. So down forward 1, very, very good down forward 1 of Katarina's. Very good. She also has extensions from down forward 1. Of course, you can duck it like this. If you block this first one, right? Like that. Launch it. But the extension makes it harder to sidestep because it will track you. Like that. Doesn't matter which way you sidestep, it will still track you. Of course, sidestep duck will beat it, but you know, it's annoying. Oh, and this down forward 1 has a stance transition, but I'm gonna talk about all the stance transitions a little bit later. Because there's a lot of them. Like down 2 stance transition, down forward 1 stance transition. Stuff like that, or 3-3-3 stance. All that. I'm gonna talk about it a little bit later. For now, in the neutral game plan, you have to understand that Katarina's space control is decent with Magic 4, down forward 1. Also, forward 4 can be used, it's not that bad, although you don't see it that often. If you whiff something, she has a good whiff punisher with forward 4-2. Forward 4-2-4, right there. Very fast, it comes out at 12. But with forward 4, at its fastest, it can come out to 13. And of course, it's a normal hit launcher. It's basically a whiff punish. And she can also control the space with back 4s, which is also very good to use and very hard to whiff punish. Because as you see, the leg extends very far, but Katarina's hitbox still stays in the same spot. And this move is a mid that's also a counter launcher, right? You can step it, of course, either side, but most of the time when it whiffs like that, it will be harder to punish, unless you do something like this, right? But this is hard to do because back 4 has a mind game. So let's talk about back 4 now. So I talked about down forward 1. I said the Magic 4 is also really good as space control. And back 4. Let's talk about back 4 now and then go to Magic 4. So back 4's properties I already talked about. The thing that makes it scary though is the extensions. So it has a high extension, which guarantees a move like this one. This is all guaranteed, right? If this hits you. But of course, the weakness of strings that end with high is you can duck it. But make sure to like commit to a duck, because if you fuzzy it, it has a little bit of weird hitbox. Something like that can happen. Oh, and remember, if you do block it, you're minus. You can also step it, like this. Right? But it's very weird to change the sides. Unless you're ready for it, I would not suggest stepping it like that. But this move right here doesn't get used that much in the neutral. Maybe as a punisher. If they want to punish you, they will use this. But most of the time, if they want to, you know, check you so you don't press anything, they'll use this. Like if you want to punish him, this can happen, right? You try to punish the first hit, and you get hit by that. So unless you do something fast, it will be way harder to punish that. That's why some people just freeze there, wait for the second hits after rack 4, and just not punish it. Oh, and the second hits track really well. I don't know why, but they track really well. Even on block, you can't step them. Of course, you can make it whiff with a lot of backdashes, but good luck doing that in the real match. It won't really work. Okay. It is minus 12 though. This is punishable. As a Bryan, you do get wall standing 3. I mean, you can wall standing 4 as well, but when you have wall standing 3, you want wall standing 4. Just do that. And do, you know, Bryan shenanigans in plus frames. Okay, that's about back 4. How is it good to use as a space control tool as well? Even though it's launch punishable normally, like this is minus 15, you can launch it. But sometimes your jet upper will whiff. Since I'm labbing Bryan, jet upper's range may sometimes whiff. And you won't be able to forward 4 or anything like that. I think 4-3. Never mind, even that's not a punish. Damn, forward 4-2 punish, huh? But yeah, be careful about that. But most Katarina players will either whiff this, like blocking just this is pretty rare. Because if they see you blocking this, they will most likely continue with this right here. Maybe sometimes this, but most likely they'll use this. Okay. But in general, you sidestep Katarina to the left, although there are some exceptions to it. So let's talk about Magic 4. Magic 4 is one of the exceptions that you don't want to sidestep to the left. You gotta go right. Like down forward 1 can be stepped easier to the left most of the time, but since it's so hard to step, I think it's in general still better to go to the right because of Magic 4. Even though down forward 1 will almost always track you. So something like jab Magic 4, you won't be able to step to the left as I already showed it. You won't even sidewalk it. But you'll be able to step guard it if you go to the right. So something like that's pretty useful. And of course Magic 4, very strong. It is punishable on a block, by the way. Not a lot of people know this. It's exactly the same as Julia's. Julia's Magic 4 is also punishable on block. But of course there's extensions. This right here. And most Katarina players use this extension. So 4, 4, 4. Or just 4, 4. But most of the time it's this. Right? Which is minus 10. But this also goes into stance, which makes a stance mind game. I'm gonna talk about stance mind game in a little bit. But this also has a weakness. You can also sidestep this. Like that one. Well, not sidestep because it kind of tracks you, but you have to sidewalk it. But be careful of jet uppering this, by the way. Wait. Since I'm talking about sidestepping it and, you know, punishing it, it's better to do a mid punish like that one, or even this, than a high, because of the stance transition. So 4, 4, 4, there's a stance transition then, with this. And this actually high crushes, sometimes. If they use the correct move anyway. Wait, let me try to do a high crush move. Like this one. I said sometimes because it depends on what move they use. There we go. Oh god, I messed up. But yeah, in general it's better to use a mid there. I think that's a decent high crush. What else high crush is there? I think this might high crush as well. Let me check that. Yeah, there we go. That's a constant high crush. It's kind of bullshit, but it's a thing. I think she also has like one more option, maybe 2 more options that will high crush like this, but I don't remember them. But this is one of them. That's why you want to use a mid. Something like this, right? For launcher. Jet upper may whip. Okay. But since you know this is steppable, it's pretty useful. The only thing you have to be careful of is just that. Because it recovers very fast. Like, as you see, jet upper is not a whip punish. unless I do it really fast, it's not a whiff punish. But I wouldn't worry about this too much. Most Katarina players do finish this. And actually go in the stance as well. Like that. But yeah. Now let's talk about the stance mind games. Because I think they're like the most important part of Katarina's game plan. So down 2 stance, something like that. Back 1 stance. 4-4-4 stance, like this. 3-3-3 stance. All these stance transitions. Of course, you have to know each one. I can't help you with that. Like, you have to notice which one is being used, so you notice that they can transition into a stance. If you don't know that, you won't be able to use your options well. So yeah, let's talk about those. Oh, down 4-1-1 stance as well. Almost forgot about that. So when it comes to these stance transitions, the mix-up is pretty simple most of the time. So for 2 of them, the 3-3-3 stance and 4-4-4 stance, the mix-up is very basic. You either get a 10 frame punish. So this, if they stop here, it's -10, you get a 10 frame punish. Like 2-3, for example, right? It's a pretty good punish. Or 1-4. You either do that, or they go into stance and use this move, which will crush your 10 frame punish. And you get hit. Not only do you get hit, you're gonna get hit very badly. Because I think all this is guaranteed, right? This, there we go, that's guaranteed. I think you get even a stomp for more damage, but you get what I mean. All that's guaranteed. You don't want to get countered there. So that's a very basic mind game. But now let's see what can you do to beat that. So it's exactly the same with 3-3-3, by the way. I showed just 4. So 3-3-3, -10. You 10 frame punish it. Or they go into stance into this option right here. It will crush the jab. And you will get countered if you try to like a 1-4 or 2-3. So the best way to combat this stance in general is a sidestep right into a duck. So sidestep right avoids some of her mid options, and the duck avoids her some low options and this high. So that's one of the best things you can do against that. So basically, if they do something like 3-3-3 into this, you won't be able to make it to whiff just like this if you sidestep right into a duck. Of course, punishing it is like a different problem, right? But as long as the whiffs, you're already good. So I'll make that whiff, the duck will make the high whiff. Something like, wait. This one will get blocked because of the duck, or just whiffed like that too. Something like this mid option will whiff most of the time because of the sidestep. And of course, if you duck, you get one standing punish, right? So this is a very good option. Punishing can be a bit iffy because of, you know, it's weird. The angles are a little bit weird there, but most of the time sidestep right duck is very good. But of course Katarina has options against it. Like if you sidestep right duck, even this whiffs. But then Katarina has this one, down 4-2. This is their anti-sidestep option. So 3-3-3, you sidestep right duck, this will hit you. If you sidestep right block, it won't hit you. So basically, the safest thing you can do is just sidestep right into a block without the duck. If you duck, this will hit you, that's why. But you can duck this. Put this into a high, you can duck and punish it. But that's like a very basic mix-up that Katarina players can use. Oh, and it's very important to know that just this is also punishable. Just this mid. It's -13. If they decide not to go for the high, you can still punish it. But as it's pretty obvious, it's like a mix-up. It's a mind game mix-up for a punishment. Okay. Of course, the annoying thing, when most good Katarina players will do, is delay their options. Something like this, maybe. Even though if they do this instantly, besides the right duck, something like that might happen, right? Which is really good. That's why you do this. But good Katarina players may delay their options. Something like this. If you do a side step right duck, and commit to a duck, of course it will get blocked, but if you do a fuzzy, you'll get hit. Basically, if they delay their options, the mind game becomes stronger. Or they can just do this, into back one, into another one, and just continue pressure, because, you know, you're respecting it by sidestepping it. Stuff like this. I think they can cancel this faster than that. Oh, and I almost forgot. Almost forgot, very important thing. They can cancel this into full crouch, which is also a way to beat the sidestep right duck option. So if they go into stance, they have the option to cancel into a full crouch low. So if you do a sidestep right duck, and get up, this will hit you. Of course, if you stay down, you'll be able to block it. But they also do this into, while staying 1-1, into another stance, into another mix-up. So this is the most common option they will use. At least good Katarina players will use to continue their pressure if you're sidestepping all the time. So be very careful when it comes to that. Because the while staying 1-1, while you can duck it, it's still very annoying to deal with. So sidestep right block is like a very, very good option that keeps you safer than normal. But the lows will hit you then, right? Like this stance low will hit you. If you don't react to this, this will hit you as well. It's reactable, but if you don't react to it, this can hit you. All that stuff. Okay. And this is like for all stance transitions. The only difference is, except for 3-3-3 and 4-4-4, where you get a 10 frame punish as a mind game, like in these situations you don't get that. So back one stance, you don't really get a 10 frame punish if they just do a back one, right? Don't really get that. So you just have to apply the sidestep right mind game for most of her options and force her to mix it up. Because if they're too comfortable doing this all the time, for example, it's a no-no. You have to make them uncomfortable. Because this move is only -3. It's a very good on counter hit. It's very fast at high crushes. It's a pretty good move. So sometimes duck it, punish it. But as I said, the safest option you can do is sidestep right to a block. Okay. Plebeian, hello. And that is for all options. Down 2 into this. All of those. Down forward 1-1 to this. Same thing. The only difference is mashing is a little bit more, how can I say that, non-risky when it comes to these moves. It's not about non-risky, because most of the time, I mean, it's in a way, technically, it's riskier than if you mash 3+4 after this, for example. But they won't use the one option as much from these situations unless they do 4-4-4 and 4-4-4-4. The one option is basically there for the mind game of the 10 frame punish. So they will most likely not use this as much unless you force them to. It's a little bit complicated. It's like Katarina players don't have as much reason to use this because you don't really get a 10 frame punish anyway, so you wouldn't jab in this situation. So that's why they might use some other stuff to mix you up. Although they can still use this to check you, of course. It's not something that you can't use, right? 100%. Okay. What else? I talked about back 4. I mean, back 3 can be pretty good as well. Power crush. Oh, this move. I almost forgot. Katarina's panic moves in general. The stance transition I talked about more or less already. Like 3-3 and 4-4-4, what to do against that. I should talk about her panic moves just a little bit, and then talk about her full crouch mix up. So her most common panic move is basically back to the +4. This one. Jab string. Oh yeah, I should talk about jab string as well. So this panic move is very, very good. It is -14, but Bryan actually can't jet upper it. This is impossible to jet upper. Very, very hard. Unless maybe at a certain angle. Wait, let me try it. Like this one. Nah. So nah, no jet upper for you. Thing is, this is actually very hard to punish in general. As you can see, down forward 2 whiffs. Maybe forward 2 will work if you do it perfectly. But even that's very hard. So, nothing works here. Basically, nothing will work here. So be very careful when it comes to punishing this. It's the same with Gaz. Gaz get down forward 4 doesn't work here either. It's better to check him than do anything else. Down back 1+2? Nah. It's 15 frames fast anyway. And it just doesn't reach. So you can't punish this. It's better to check Katarina with like 3+4 than even try to punish this. So be very careful when it comes to that. Fuck. Wait. I want it. I'm really bad at it, but I want it. One more try. Fuck it. Okay. So be careful when it comes to this move. This is a very good panic move for Katarina. So. This right here. Hop kick. This is also one of the panic moves, of course. This is -13. You won't be able to jet up it or anything. 4-3 and stuff like that. You can also sidestep it pretty easily to one side. It has a little bit tracking to one side and not the other. But most of the time, you can very easily step it. But this is a panic move. Most likely they'll use this in a situation where you're not stepping, right? Where you're trying to just pressure him. Oh, and one more thing. You have to be very careful of just one hop kick. This. As you guys can see, it's -15. But since you're expecting a second one, you're gonna delay your response. And even your normal punishment will whiff. Not whiff, but it won't work. There's something like this into, I don't know, instant high crush. Can work really well. Because this, you try to punish it with a jab. Even though you're pretty sure it's punishable, it recovers so fast that it gets crushed. Right? So be very careful when it comes to punishing a single hop kick. This one. The block stun is very weird, and since you're expecting the second one, it's not always worth to punish it. Right? Okay, that's about hop kick. That's about this. There's also back 2, but this is pretty uncommon. Like back 2 is a mini backswing blow with a lot of high crushing, as you guys can see. This can also be used as a panic move, but it is -14. And Bryan can actually punish this. Right? It's also very easily steppable, but it is a panic move that you should know about. Some Katarina players use this, but I don't see it that often. Okay. Now let's talk about the jab string and then the full crouch mix. So the jab string is very, very strong for Katarina. Very strong. This jab string and this one is very good. So first let's talk about the high. 1-1-2. So this is a high you can duck, of course, and launch it after 1-1. But on block, you're in a lot of minus. -7 actually. So you have to be very careful. Something like this is like the most common setup. 1-1-2, if you press something, down forward 4. This is a countered knee launcher, that's a frame trap. Although you can step it to one direction, like this. As I said, most of the time you do want to step to the right, even though down forward 1 will track you, it's whatever. Or you have to backdash it. If you backdash, it's one of the safest options. So backdash or sidestep right, make that whiff, and punish it. Backdash safer than a sidestep, of course, because backdashing is always safe. If you do it once. If you try to cancel, you might get hit by something randomly, but if you do it once, it's very safe. Of course, sidestep right also works. So be careful about that. So if you duck it, of course, it's risky. You can launch it, but then it 1-1-1 comes in. This stops you from ducking it. Because this is basically 23 free damage if you duck it. For Katarina. It's only -5. It can't interrupt it. You can't power crush through it. And you can't sidestep it. It will hit you if you try to sidestep it. And you can't backdash it. And this is one of the reasons Katarina's jab string is so strong. 1-1-1 is basically unbeatable. You can't beat this, it's basically unbeatable. And it's only -5. And I think on counter hit it knocks down, I don't remember, but let me check. Yep, it has a knockdown into guaranteed up forward 4 if I remember correctly. This shit is guaranteed. So 1-1-1 is very good. So be careful when it comes to this. But if the Katarina player likes to spam 1-1-2, you can duck it. Just be careful and know that this option also exists, which is very strong. That's about the jab string, more or less. And after 1-1-1, Katarina has a lot of options in -5, like sidestepping or panic move or crushing, so be very careful. Like 1-1-1 into this, for example, it can be a thing. Right? Just be very careful when it comes to it. Of course, you can check her. Bryan has very good checks. Oh my goodness, that whiffed. Like 3+4 is decent. Down forward 2 is decent. I don't know if down forward 1 will work. Yeah, it did not. Maybe down 2, that will work. Down back 2 should work. You know, stuff like that. Damn. I guess don't use highs. Right. And if they do like doing this a lot, you can just make it whiff, right? If you make it whiff, just try not to sidestep it. If you sidestep it, it will most likely still clip you. If you backdash to make it whiff, be ready for it and launch it. Like this, right? Both work. Forward 4 will catch. It might, but throwing out forward 4 in that situation ain't the best of ideas. Most of the time, the best idea to throw out after 1-1-1 is either a counter tool of your own, like a Magic 4, or any kind of mid-check like down forward 2, down back 2, or even down forward 1 in some situations, as long as it goes in the frames. Because this into Magic 4 is also a thing Katarina players can do. If you do something too slow, I don't know, like down forward 4, forward 4, this can counter it you. But if you backdash, even that will whiff. But remember what I said about Magic 4 in general, all Katarina players will actually, you know, continue it. Most likely you'll block it, but there'll be a -10 mind game. So be careful about that. Down 1+2. Down 1+2, that works. But yeah, one of the best options there is like a good mid check or a backdash. Okay, what else? As I said, 1-1-1 is very good. There are a lot of mind games after it. Like they can Magic 4 after it, they can jab after it, down forward 1 after it. They can move after it to make some of your things with, so you have to be careful. So basic -5 mind game for Bryan. Same kind of mind game that's like in this situation. Exactly the same. You're gonna be just as close. You're gonna be +5 just like after hatchet kick. So you use these options, right? Not this one maybe, but yeah. Very basic -5 mind game. Okay. Now let's talk about full crouch fix. So Katarina's full crouch fix, of course, in the latest patches, which was a long time ago to be honest, did get buffed. Like this move is -14 now, instead of being launch. And it's very weird to step, to say the least. If you try to step this, sometimes you'll be able to, just like this, if you time it correctly. But most of the time, it's very weird to step. Like if they do this into this, for example, you won't be able to step this. At least Bryan won't be able to step it. Kazuya can't either. Maybe some females can, but it's unsteppable. If you do sidestep left duck, of course you'll be able to block it. But then you might risk getting hit by other stuff like this into this, right? Which is also unsteppable, by the way. You can't step this. There we go. If you decide to right block, the low will still hit you, so it's a little bit weird. And the 3-3-3, of course. Oh, whoa, hello. Yeah, 3-3-3 will track sidestep right. You won't be able to track sidestep right. Not track. Go to the right anyway, if you're P1. But if you're P2, 3-3-3 is also a very good option. But in general, 3-3 is a good option as a mix-up too. Because they're gonna 3-3-3, check if it hits you and finish it. Because this is, you know, hit conformable. Pretty hit conformable. Sometimes they won't hit confirm it. It's not, you know, super easy, but it's doable. So they can do this right afterwards. And this also works as a semi-frame trap. If you while staying forward, this will trade. Although you can step it to the left, stepping to the left is a little bit iffy anyway. So yeah, this into while staying 1-1 is also very, very common. I think that's like one of the most common options. So this, if you try to step it, you'll be able to step it, but the second one, you know, will get blocked. But some other stuff will catch you even more. Like another full crouch option. Oh, and I forgot to mention, it's not a step, you have to sidewalk it. Whenever I say step, sometimes I mean sidewalk, I don't know. My bad. But you gotta sidewalk this. Because if you don't sidewalk, sometimes it will not whiff. And sometimes it will track you like this. Of course you can duck it if you expect it. But this is a very common option after it. Very, very common. And since I already talked about the stance mind game, it's exactly the same. With all the options, with sidestep right block being very good, sidestep right duck being very good. Or sometimes just, you know, interrupt the pressure or something if they get too cocky, basically. Bum, 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 bum. Wall combo. Okay. That's like a very basic full crouch mind game and full crouch mix up in general. With this, they can do this for high reward as well. And 3. Very basic. Right? But it's very strong. Especially this. This does a lot of damage. 24 damage, it's +3. Very annoying to deal with. Can't sidestep it on P1. I don't know if you can sidestep it on P2 either, I'm gonna be honest. Even if you can, it's not gonna be worth it because things will track you. So it's very strong full crouch mix up. Okay. What else to talk about? Yeah, this is the string you have to know. It has like a mini mind game with just down forward 3. Because if they down forward 3 and you duck, they'll get like a mental frames, but if you just duck and get up, or duck while staying 4 instantly, it can work. But be careful while staying 4ing, because if they do this, this will catch you. So mini fuzzy ducking to get up is like your option. Basically. Okay, let's talk about. Oh yeah, back 1. So when I talked about back 1 to stance, that's not the only mind game it has. Because if you do always sidestep right, for example, after seeing back 1. Oh god. You might get caught off guard by something like back 1-1, which is like an extension. This is punishable, back 1-1. But if you do sidestep right all the time, this might catch you. And there's also a back 1-2. Which, to be fair, it does jail. You won't be able to get hit if you sidestep right. Which is good, right? But be careful of this as well, because, you know, it's a very good mid-mid string. That's also a new tactics. Very good. Safe mid-mid. But yeah, back 1-1. Be careful about that. Oh, let's talk about this as well. I feel like not a lot of people know about this. So at the wall, a Katarina player might mix you up with the down 4-2 string. So either down 4-2-4 or down 4-2-2. So down 4-2-2 is a mid-mid. It's also a wall splat. It's a natural hit combo. You won't be able to block it if you get hit by the first one, right? And it's only -10, so it's really good. They might mix you up with this. You can punish it whenever you get blocked this. But then there's the high. So this is like not fuzzyable at all, which is like 25 frames is the mid and 26 frames is the high, so you can't really fuzzy it. So you have to guess if they use the mid or the high. And most of the time it's not worth ducking because the mid will all splat you. If you do duck though, of course you get punished. But the most important part about this move is that not a lot of people realize that this is +1 for Katarina. You're in minus after this. So if they do a jab after this, you won't be able to beat it with your own jabs. So, example, right? This into 1-1. You try to jab, you're gonna lose. I don't know why I'm not losing here. I think I messed up, but let's try that again. I'm gonna mash jab. There we go. There we go. I messed up the timing last time. You are gonna lose there. You are -1. If the Katarina player jabs, you're gonna lose to that. So expect a jab there most of the time. Of course, you won't be able to punish it that well, especially if they just use one jab. But they used 1-2 or 1-1. It becomes a little bit better. So if they use this into 1-1, for example, you can sidestep it, but be careful of the second hit tracking you. Especially at the wall, right? So insta sidestep into, I don't know, insta 2-4. Or 1-4, not 2-4. Can work, but it's very hard to pull off. And of course the sidestep duck will also beat this. So if you expect it, it can work. But you can also do down forward ones after it, which, you know, is very good. Which will also track you really well. So be very, very careful. Okay, what else? As long as you know this is +1, just have to be careful. Sometimes sidestep. Sidestep blocking is good, but if they do down forward 1-1 after it, sidestepping won't do you too good. Especially in some situations like this one, right? It will track really well. Okay. A defensive Jin. Yeah, Jin can do decently. Jin is a very good matchup because he can also launch this, which is -14. Jin is decent. Okay. What else? Yeah, this is a reactable low. You can react to it. Sometimes it'll still hit you, of course. Like, don't push yourself too hard when it does hit you. It's not that easy to react to. But it is a reactable low. If you do duck it, do that. There's also another reactable low, which is a little bit harder to react to. Down back 3. Just be careful when it comes to this move at the wall, because Katarina doesn't get anything guaranteed normally in the neutral, like this. But at the wall, she does get a guaranteed stomp or up forward 4, I think. But if you do react to it, always launch punish it. I messed up. Oh, and it's also more or less linear. It's not that linear, especially on the right side, which is where you want to step it. And even the left side's a little bit iffy, but it's mostly just a reactable low. Okay. Her low's not being mostly launched? Yeah, because, you know, these exist now, this. Oh, and I almost forgot. One of the most underrated lows, in my opinion, for Katarina is down 3. Let's talk about down 3 mind games as well. So down 3, most likely, good Katarina players will be the only ones that use this move. Like, people who understand how good it is, basically. So this is a 16 frame low, that's 0 on hit. But what makes this very good is the mind games it has. So it has 2 mind games. One is the high, down 3-4. Of course you can duck this, even on hit, punish it. But be careful when it's on block, it's only -1. So don't press into it too much. But the important part is the down 3-3, which is the mid. I don't know why this is not -14, by the way. It should be -14, but it's not. So if you do duck this, this will just hit you for free. That's why most of the time down 3 has a lot of mind games. Not mind games, mental frames. So when you get hit by this, you're like, oh, one of the extensions may be coming, so I have to respect it. So they can just do this into this, or do this into other stuff, you know, and just make you guess and just pressure you with that mind game situation with down 3. Especially if you press after this, it's very scary. Because as I said, this is only 0. And I think this is like a counter to something. Or is it the high that gives something on counter? Yeah, there you go. Like if you try to press into it on block, it will be a little bit iffy. It's the same kind of mix-up on block as well, just like on hit. But on block, it's a punish mix-up. On hit, it's like a different kind of mind game. Let me try to get countered on hit. Is that possible? I don't think it is. Yeah, it's not. Definitely not. You just get hit. Okay, so be careful about that string. It's not used that much, but this can be used as a round ender by almost any Katarina player. If they want to use the low, then most likely they'll do this or this. Be very careful. Okay. Oh, I almost forgot. Down forward 4. Or did I mention it? Nah, I did mention it already. After 1-1-2, the jab string, I already mentioned how to beat it. You either sidestep right or backdash. Even though it has very good range, sometimes you'll be able to backdash it, especially after like 1-1-2. Alright? But sidestep right in general is pretty good against Katarina. But be careful because down forward 1 will track you. Which is bullshit, but it is what it is. I think back 3 might track you as well, I'm not too sure. Never mind. It does not have any track. Okay, what else to talk about? The rage drive situation, I think, is the one thing left, right? More or less. I mean, she can also use this as a mid mix-up, but I don't see Katarina players use it that much. It's only -10. But this is like a string that you must know is -10. It's not like a complicated situation. It's like a mix-up option. What else? Pairing is better than blocking, more or less. More or less. Because all these lows are only -14, but Bryan does get a decent punish. Like, this is not bad. This is not a bad punish at all. I really like Bryan's 13 frame punisher, the new one. And you get this on all of her lows, more or less. Except for this one. But most Katarina players won't use this as a poke. Trust me on that. But low pairing in general does give more reward. Okay. Oh yeah, 1-1 transition. I forgot this exists. So 1-1 also transitions into stance. So if you're respecting 1-1-1, they might also do 1-1 to mix up, right? Another jab string mix up I completely forgot about. Because Katarina has too many stance transitions. So 1-1 stance, the same kind of mix up when it comes to like back 1 stance, down 2 stance. Same kind of thing. Sidestep right does work well, but because of the mind game situation on 1-1-1 and 1-1-2, you may freeze up more and actually get mixed up by the stance. Like something like this, and this might mix you up, right? So be very careful about that. And it's the same with this as well, but it's not as scary unless you're at the wall. Back 1-1. Back 1-1 mind game. Okay. Yeah, let's go to rage, and I think that's gonna be it. So when it comes to rage, not me. There we go. Katarina actually is very, very scary. Very scary. And that's because she can literally do 50% of your HP as damage. I think that's even too low. I think maybe 60 or 70% of your HP as damage, like for free with one launcher. So you have to be very careful. Katarina's comeback potential is very good, as long as she launches you. Because she gets this at the wall, and that does a lot of damage. So let me try to demonstrate it. I don't remember Katarina combos that well, but let me try. Ah, wait. Something like this. I messed up. I just want to demonstrate the damage just so you guys know. Okay. So this. Back 1-1. There we go. There we go. You guys see the damage? After the rage drive, this is bonkers damage. I even did a shit combo, right? That was not a good combo or anything like that. But that's bonkers damage. So be very careful when it comes to going up against Katarina in range. Rage. I said rage. Very, very careful. Because one launch and you might just be dead. Because of that right there, with walls. But even outside of it, when it comes to her stance moves, this becomes a unique option. Right? And this is unique because it actually has tracking to the right. If you decide the right block, of course it's still good. But it actually tracks there now. So if you do a duck, this just hits you for 50 damage. It doesn't track to the left side, but everything else does, so. It's a little bit iffy. If you do predict it, of course you can go to the left. Like that, but still, it's a unique option because most of the time you do want to go to the right. And this tracks to that side. So be very careful. Especially if the Katarina player decides to go for a full crouch picks up, does this to you. And randomly does this for a launch and you duck it, right? Because you get annoyed, you duck it. You get launched, you go to the wall, and you just die because of it, like this shit. Look at the damage. That was like, I don't know, one wall splat combo, something like that, into 80 damage. Something like this maybe, into this. Maybe this does 85 damage. Yeah, be very careful when it comes to that. That's like a unique Katarina rage situation. Because the rage drive being so good, you have to be very careful. Okay. But I think that's it, right? Can't really think of anything else. Fuck. I'm so bad at this. Why am I so bad at this, guys? But yeah, that's it. I don't want to waste any more time trying to do that. Yeah, YouTube, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys later.